Hey guys, it is MattySports bringing my Week 15 prediction of the 2015 college football season. Now, last time I think I said I was going to be predicting bowl games, but I actually forgot that this is one of the most important weeks of college football, and that is Army versus Navy plays this week, and it is one of the greatest college football games to watch. It's just nice to see the two military academies, the most prominent ones at least, of Army and Navy, having a whole week by themselves. The only game played, a great neutral site, and the game is always great to watch and it's very enjoyable. But last week in week 14 in championship week, I went 6-4. Some big notes was that Texas upset Baylor, so Texas beat Oklahoma and Baylor, but still only went 5-7 and not going to a bowl game. Which and because Baylor lost, opened the door for Oklahoma State to make a New Year's Six game. So because Baylor lost, they could have had a New Year's Six game, but instead that went to Oklahoma State. Western Kentucky beat Southern Mississippi to win the Conference USA championship. Houston beat Temple to win the American and land themselves a spot in the Peach Bowl. Georgia State upset Georgia Southern on the road, which is very surprising. So congratulations at Georgia State. Alabama took care of Florida, but they only won by 2 touchdowns. Florida's defense was pretty good. Derrick Henry had almost about 200 yards rushing. That was on like 49-ish carries. So, I mean, when you get the ball to run that many times, I'd hope you get a lot of yards. And San Diego State beat Air Force to win the Mountain West. Stanford beat USC to win the Pac-12. Clemson beat North Carolina to win the ACC on a very controversial offsides call on the onside kick attempt by North Carolina. North Carolina was only down by a touchdown, and the referees called an offsides on the kick, and North Carolina actually ended up recovering that kick. When, if you look at the replay, it clearly showed that North Carolina was still onside, so that could have been a very different outcome in that game, but instead Clemson earns a spot in the college football playoff. Bowling Green beat Northern Illinois to win the MAC championship. And lastly, Michigan State beat Iowa in the de facto quarterfinal to win the Big Ten and get a spot in the college football playoff, bringing my record to 6-4. But that was week 14. Now on to week 15, where we have the Army versus Navy game, because it is Army versus number 21 Navy. So Navy's actually coming into this ranked. Of course, Navy's had a great season this year. But before I talk about this game, I guess I'll talk about the awards that were given out last night. This video is kind of getting uploaded late on a Friday, just the day before the Army Navy game. But Deshaun Watson won the Davy O'Brien Award. Derrick Henry won the Doak Walker Award. So in terms of who won the Maxwell Award between those two, is actually Derrick Henry that won. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't think Derrick Henry is the best running back. I know I'm going to sound biased, but I still believe Dalvin Cook is the best running back. And I was shocked to not see Dalvin Cook's name on at least the Doak Walker Award for the best running back. I can understand if maybe he didn't become a Heisman finalist, but to not even be in consideration for the Doak Walker Award, I think is kind of silly when his rushing yards are just as good as Derrick Henry's. And it's not that Dalvin Cook's yards may be a little less than Derrick Henry's. It's the fact that Dalvin Cook has had so many less carries. Like he's had so many fewer carries. Dalvin Cook's missed a game. He's played through numerous games where he's had to deal with hamstring and ankle problems, and he's still able to keep up with Derrick Henry. I just think it was a disservice to not include him for at least the Doak Walker Award because I personally believe Dalvin Cook's the best running back. I know that's biased because I'm a Florida State fan, but if you really look at the film and even compare the stats of the yards compared to the amount of carries the two had, I think it's obvious that Dalvin Cook should have definitely been in consideration for the Doak Walker Award. So that kind of upset me. I just think he was a great player and at least deserved to be in contention for the best running back. But in terms of who won the Maxwell Award, it was Derrick Henry, which a running back hadn't won the Maxwell Award. I think in almost 13 years since 2002. So I guess congratulations, to Derrick Henry. He's still a great player. Don't get me wrong. But if we're comparing stats when Alabama played Florida and when Florida State had to play Florida on the road, they had nearly identical rushing yards, but Derrick Henry had like 48, 49 carries, and Dalvin Cook only had like 28 or so. So, I mean, I think the number speaks for itself, but I'm not going to talk about that. We're instead going to talk about the Army versus number 21 Navy game, one of the greatest games to watch. And as my third year of doing these predictions, I think it's clearly obvious that I'm going to pick Navy to win because I've always picked Navy. And Navy has always had Army's number for the past 10 or so years. So It's a pretty easy pick for me. Army's not been that good this year. The past couple of years, though, Navy's kept the game pretty close, and Army has actually had a pretty good team, not Navy. But Navy's also had a good team. But I'm talking about Army in the past 2 years. But Navy, they've been a great team this year. Been in the season mostly in the top 25. They were probably a good contender to win the American if they were maybe in Temple's division, because of course Navy's division had Houston, Memphis themselves compared to Temple's, which only had them and USF really. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Navy. Triple option's too good. Army's only 2-9 and haven't the teams they've beaten are really bad teams. So I think it's a pretty easy game for me to pick, as I will pick Navy. But anyway, guys, that's been it for this week's college football prediction video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the Heisman. Who do you think is going to win the Heisman? Personally, I think Deshaun Watson should win the Heisman. That's just me, though. I think he's a much better player than Derrick Henry. And I'll see you guys next time where I predict all bowl games, including college football playoff. Anyway, guys, this has been Matty Sports, and I'll see you guys then.